everyone, today I am finally telling you about all the books I read in September. Sorry this video is a little bit late, I've been really busy and just haven't had time. But yeah, it is here now anyway, and I'm excited to tell you about all the books I read in September. I didn't read everything I wanted to read, and I also added a book in that wasn't actually on my list, but I really wanted to read. At least I don't think it was on my list. I'm pretty sure it wasn't on my list, but it was on my last book haul, so you might work it out from there. So anyway, without further ado, let's get started. So the first book I read was Eclipsed by Stephanie Meyer, and this is the third book in the Twilight series, and again, I found this very slow, and it's quite a big book, so it took me quite a while to get through, and that I think is why my reading kind of slowed down a little bit. But I did get through it. It was okay. I just definitely didn't enjoy it as much as I wanted to. I just didn't feel like the book needed to be as long as it is, and I felt my mind wandering a lot because it was just very slow paced, and when there's not a lot happening I do tend to get bored very easily, and I'm sure a lot of you can relate to that. I do have to say the fight scenes at the end though really did keep me engaged. They were really exciting. I still remember them well from the first time I read them, and I enjoyed them just as much this time around. That was actually really good, so the ending I really did enjoy, and I think that's why I upped the rating slightly, because it's still a really low rating I've given it, I'll tell you that in a minute, but I did think the ending was good. It was just a shame that the rest of the book was so slow. I really liked the rivalry between the vampires and the werewolves. I thought that was really, not just fun to read about, but it was quite humorous as well. Like, the way they fought against each other, but still were kind of supporting each other eventually because of Bella, and because of the other vampires elsewhere that are really bad and were trying to get to Bella, and all of that. It was quite funny to read about, because although they hated each other, you could tell that they kind of had to just get on with each other as much as possible and just be as civil as they possibly could. But yeah, like I said, it was way too drawn out for me. It didn't have to be as long as it is, I don't think, and I just felt the writing was very dragged out. But yeah, it was okay. I give it 2 stars. Definitely the lowest rating out of the series so far. I just didn't think much happened in this, and it definitely could have been a lot shorter. The second book I read was also a reread for me, and that was Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone by J.K. Rowling. I absolutely love Harry Potter. It is just my baby. I love it so much. And it was amazing to get back into this series. I'm not going to go on about what Harry Potter is about. I'm sure we all know. Wizarding World, Hogwarts, all that lot of stuff. And it was just brilliant. The settings in this are just so magical, and every time they go to Diagon Alley I just absolutely fall in love with it. The first time Harry goes to Diagon Alley with Hagrid, it just makes me want to melt. I really love Diagon Alley. It's just so magical, and it's the first kind of magical, really magical element we'll get to see in the series as well, so it's really special. With the locations in this, you do just feel so at home and so warming, and it's just a perfect read for this time of year when it's starting to get a bit colder and you just need your cosy blankets and your hot chocolates or your cups of teas or whatever you drink and your candles burning. It is just the perfect read for that. Character-wise, I absolutely love pretty much all the characters, but especially Snape and Dumbledore. I love Hagrid. Dumbledore's quotes are just the best, and I'm sure so many of you will agree with me. They're just so inspiring, and he just has so much to say that's so important, and he just has a way about him that you just cannot not listen to him. You have to listen to him. And each of these characters, as well as all of the other characters as well, are so well developed, and you just really get to know them really quickly, and it's nice to sort of have that knowledge of each of the characters quite soon on. Instead of it being drawn out so much and you're not really knowing much about them, you do get to know them really quickly. The friendship between the main 3, Harry, Ron and Hermione, is just so warming. It's so heartwarming. I just absolutely love it. And the fact that Hermione isn't really in the group at all at the beginning, they find her annoying and they just don't get along with her because she's very different to them too, is really funny to start with, but then when they start to get much more friendly and they become this trio, they just support each other so much, and it's so lovely to see. I completely forgot how many differences there actually are between the books and the films, and when I reread this I was like, I forgot about this bit, and oh yeah, that's not in the film, or the film changed this bit to that, and there was quite a lot more than I actually remembered, so it was quite nice to sort of see that. But the differences don't bother me at all. I really love the books, I love the way they're written, and I love how the films have been adapted as well. It doesn't bother me at all. Of course, I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I couldn't give it anything else. It is one of my babies. I just absolutely love it so much. The third book I read was actually a non-fiction book, and that is called Feel the Fear and Do It Anyway, and this is by Susan Jeffers. I didn't know much about this book going into it. I was recommended this because I've been feeling quite anxious recently, and this was hopefully going to help. And although I am still quite anxious, it's not a miracle cure, it's not going to just get rid of it. If it did, then I would recommend this to absolutely everyone. To be honest, I still do recommend it to everyone who does suffer with anxiety or even depression or anything like that. Definitely give this book a read because it does make you think about the way you think and how you can help yourself change the way you think and become more positive. So it covers things like jobs, relationships, changes in your life, social aspects as well. Some of these I can relate to, and those bits were really relatable. It was quite scary how relatable some of the things were actually in this book. I was going through it and I was like, that's me, and that's me, and that's me, and it was just very strange, but I really did find this book very helpful, and it made me think for days and days and days afterwards about what this book was saying and how it helped. And also throughout this, Susan Jeffers gives you techniques, what you can use to help you, and also there's images and diagrams as well to sort of help explain and describe how our brains work and how we think, and just sort of how these can change to be more positive as well. It's a very interactive book, and because of the images and the diagrams as well, it makes you visualise a lot of things and put some experiences of your own into context, and I definitely found that very useful, and sort of it made me think of things in a very different way, and those ways were a lot better because I will think of something in a certain way and I find it very difficult to get out of the way I'm thinking and think of it in a different way that isn't as bad. As well as the images and diagrams and techniques, there's also a lot of quotes in this book, and there's so many of the quotes I really agreed with, and I just couldn't quite grasp how helpful these quotes actually were. It was a very strange reading experience because of how relatable it was and how much it helped and made me think. Like, I haven't read a book in such a long time that has made me think as much as this. I just found it so useful, and if you find yourself thinking quite negatively a lot of the time, or you get anxious, anything like that, I definitely recommend this to you because I do think it will help you think in different ways. And even if it doesn't, it's give you an insight into ways it can help other people, and maybe that'll help you think of other ways it can help you as well. It definitely helped me in the sense of thinking about my self-confidence. I don't have a lot of it. I'm quite a confident person generally, but self-confidence I lack. I don't really have any of that. But this is definitely something I will go back to again and again and again and again, especially if I'm feeling a bit rubbish. And yeah, I just definitely recommend it. If you've read this book, definitely let me know what you think of it as well and whether it helped you, because I'd love to know your opinions on this one. I just think there's something for everyone in this book and we can all relate to it in some way or another. Obviously we're not going to all relate to it in the same ways. There are lots of different topics involved in this book, but I definitely think because of that you can relate to it in some way. Of course, I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. I don't really have anything bad to say about it. The writing was very easy to understand. I didn't get bored. I didn't find it dragging on. It was just really easy to understand and very, very relatable. And the fourth and final book I read this month was Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children. I have a feeling this is going to be a bit of an unpopular opinion. I am not saying I didn't enjoy this book. I did. But we'll get onto that in a minute. For those of you that don't know, this is about a boy called Jacob who is 16 and he is in a family tragedy, and because of this he ends up visiting an island just off the coast of Wales, and there he finds Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children, which is an orphanage, but the orphanage now is just the ruins. There's not a lot left of it. But he does go in and he starts unravelling clues about what's happened here, who the children were, could they possibly still be alive, who Miss Peregrine is, and also how that links back to himself and his family, or some of his family. It's very interesting and the story is really good, but I did find my mind wandering quite a lot. I don't know why that was. I just felt like I wasn't fully engaged the whole way through, and that really upset me because I really wanted to enjoy this a lot more than I did. I found it really slow to get into. Once I got into it properly, I did start enjoying it a lot more, but to start with, it just seemed to go on and on and on and on, and not a lot happened. But I would recommend, if you're going to read this, just definitely read it out, because even though I found it slow, you might not, and if you do find it slow, I'm sure you will find that it does pick up eventually and it does get much better. I didn't get attached to any of the characters, and the one thing I really like to do is get attached to characters, and I just don't feel attached to any of them at all, and I feel like I'm the only person who's ever said that about this book. Let me know what you think of this one as well, because I can't quite get my head around why I didn't like it as much. I just, Saying that, however, I did really like the settings of this book. I could picture them really well. They were really strange and they were just very, very different, and that really helped me engage more in the story because I could visualise the settings really well. Also, to help you visualise, there's images all the way through this, lots and lots of different images that link in with the story, and I thought they linked in really, really well, and I loved looking at those images and just how creepy they were, how strange they were. There was a lot of things completely wrong with them. It was very weird, but I did really enjoy that element to the story. I gave this book 3 out of 5 stars because, like I said, I did enjoy the story. I just felt my mind wandering quite a lot, a little bit too much for me personally, and I didn't get attached to any of the characters. I don't feel emotionally attached to any of them. I don't really care that much what happens to any of them. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it's just my opinion, and I definitely will listen to all of your opinions as well, so if you want to comment what you think of this one, then please do, I'd love to know. So that is it for my September wrap up. I didn't read as much as I wanted to, but like I said, I have been extremely busy, and it's just been a bit crazy month, and there's been a lot going on, and I've just not had that much time to read, but the fact I did actually read 4 books I'm very, very happy with. I have a really good October TBR coming up for you very, very soon. I will try and get that uploaded as quickly as possible. I have lots of books on that list. I actually have 1 extra book on that list because usually I would only have 5, but this month I have 6. I think I'm being a bit optimistic, but we'll see. So that is it for this video anyway. I hope you've enjoyed it. If you have, don't forget to give it a thumbs up and subscribe. By all means, leave your favourite book of September down in the comments below. I'd love to know. And your opinions of any of the books I've mentioned today as well. And I will see you all in my next video very soon. Bye!